I-86 After Dark recommends simply the best cleaning services. Call 716-912-6940. Western New York's cleaning and restoration leader. From Buffalo to Long Island, this is I-86 After Dark. Welcome to I-86 After Dark, everybody. It is Wednesday night, September 10th. And, of course, you got me, the Ginger Hammer. You got Buffalo Bob. You got John here in the producer studio here. Guys, how's it going?
I am fantastic and like normal, and tomorrow is my 33rd birthday, as I was born on September 11th of 92, for those of you who don't know. And yes, I am getting old, and it sucks.
Well, it could be worse. Could be me. I'm 43. And, of course, happy birthday, you old fuck, like we normally do on our old show. But, yep, enjoy your day tomorrow, man. And then, John, our wrestling guru, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Been busy as hell. It's weird to be in this producer role once again. It's been a while. It's been a number of years since I've been in this producer role, but I can't wait to see, what I do in this position. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on right now in the sports world, not involving any New York team in particular.
Yep.
Giants.
Of course. Yeah, Giants and Jets had some interesting stuff this past weekend. Of course, we're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills and the epic comeback, which is going to be one of the biggest things in this episode. A little bit of hockey news going on, some baseball stuff. And, of course, we want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Simply the Best Cleaning Services. They are our first official sponsor on the new show. So, of course, if you need water and mold remediation or if you need general cleaning services, they are available 24 hours at 716-912-6940. So, special thanks to them, and we may have them on the show just to do a quick guest appearance in the future. So, of course, we appreciate their support. They're one of our first, and it's always good to see. So, with that being said, let's jump into the big matter of the day, and that is football. Week 1, we had some fun stuff that happened, and of course, one of the big things was Sunday Night Football. The Baltimore Ravens versus the Buffalo Bills at the last ever home opener in the current Highmark Stadium. And who would have thought that the Bills, with less than a 1% chance to win, would come back on a Matt Prater field goal and take it away from the Ravens?
Woo! Can I just say that I honestly felt I was going to have a fucking aneurysm, especially within the last 5 minutes, because I don't think anybody even in the building perspectively, I don't think anybody thought the Bills had any chance to come back to even win that game. Because if I'm not mistaken, the Ravens had a 99.1% chance to win the game on Sunday. And I got to tell you, and I'm not going to lie, the Bills for 90% of the game played like absolute trash. I'm not going to lie. Everybody on defense was horrendous. The secondary was horrible. The whole offense wasn't going, and it didn't really get going until the final quarter. So realistically for me, I think the Bills could have done a little better, but in general, they did have a hell of a comeback, and the stat is that they're the only team in NFL history to ever come back from a 15-point deficit with under 4 minutes left to go in the final quarter.
Yeah. And just thinking about some of the highlights, I mean, Josh Allen, 394 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, clean game. I mean, Lamar Jackson, he only threw for 209, but same thing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. But Derrick Henry, holy crap, 169 yards on offense. James Cook only ran for 44, and that's how good Baltimore's defense was shutting down the run. Cook couldn't get anything done. And then if you look at Flowers and you look at Coleman, I mean, Flowers ended up getting 7 receptions, 1 touchdown. He averaged 20.4 per reception. Went for 143. Keon Coleman, 8 receptions, 1 touchdown, 14 yards per catch, and he went for 112. But Derrick Henry, I mean, he always gives the Bills a problem. No, like he gives a lot of teams problems, but he has always given the Bills defense a ton of problems. The thing that was a turning point, though, the fumble.
Oh yeah, definitely. John, what'd you think of the game on Sunday? I'm curious. I mean, I know from a Giants fan perspective, you're like, I don't want to talk about it, but you already know that story. But what do you think of that comeback though by the Bills?
Oh, you mean the actual true team of New York?
Mhm.
It was a good win. I'm not gonna take that away from them. I mean, it shows that they are resilient, and it shows that that again, it was only week one, so I don't want to sit here and say, oh, they're automatically gonna be Super Bowl champs right away. Let's calm down before the pitchforks come out at me from Buffalo. But they definitely look like a good team. And doing that, and I think also what people have to remember, you're doing that up against a Baltimore Ravens team. You're not doing it up against the Cleveland Browns here, people. Baltimore is not. I'm not saying Baltimore is an easy team. I'm not saying Cleveland's an easy team, but unfortunately, this is where it comes down to the fact of a few mistakes here and there, and you can blow the lead that Baltimore did.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and you know what though? I have to give the Ravens credit because in the first half of the game, it looked like to me that they were going to have all the momentum going into it. Lamar Jackson, even though he was subpar active in the run game and passing game and all that, the real MVP for the Ravens though is hands down Derrick Henry. That guy just outright kicked their ass throughout the majority of the game. And then Zay Flowers stepped up. And by the way, Zay Flowers is actually on my fantasy team, so in that retrospective, I'm pretty happy about that. But, Zay Flowers had a great game. I thought he was phenomenal. And he gave the Ravens, he literally gave them a given opportunity that he possibly could. And to me, I think the Ravens could build off this momentum that they had. But I think at this point right now, it's safe to say that the Ravens are nowhere clear as good as like the Chiefs or like the Eagles or even the Bills for that matter. Because it's like you have a stacked team on paper, which is not the issue. The issue is you can't come up clutch. And that's been a serious issue for the Ravens in the last like 4 or 5 years. And if I'm not mistaken, since 1991, and I read the stat earlier, is they have blown 17 games in regulation or overtime since 1991.
That is an interesting stat.
Yeah,
just thinking about that.
Absolutely. And John is going to bounce for a little bit. He'll be right back, and we'll see you in the second half of the show, brother.
Yep, I'll be back in a little bit.
You got it. All right. So looking at a little bit more of the game, I mean, literally after the Bills' first drive until the last 10 minutes of the game, I'm thinking, what the hell am I watching?
Other than a gigantic ass choke job.
Yeah, seriously. And I mean, Derrick Henry was like freaking running it down the throats. And here's one of the other things too: safeties got exposed, cornerbacks got exposed. The good thing is Trey White actually is practicing this week, so he may actually be back. But they just got destroyed.
Yeah, no, I have to confess that I think the defense to me could have been better because there were some moments in the game where the Bills were making mistakes like any team in the league, yes. But the Ravens, to me, Tom, felt like they had all the momentum in their grasp. But they kind of just, thought, okay, 15-point lead, the Bills are not going to come back. We're not worried about them. But then all of a sudden, the pass interference penalty on Nate Wiggins, not going for it on 4th and 3 late in the third quarter, and of course the fumble from Derrick Henry. And all the momentum that the Ravens had from that game, gone at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Gone.
Yeah.
And I'm still figuring out how the fuck did they blow this game? Like, it's like if you're a contender for the Super Bowl every year and you do that, I know it's the first week of the regular season, but this game is already in the conversation for Game of the Year. No exaggeration.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that last 10 minutes, that comeback, especially when you go down to the last 5 minutes, that was epic. And literally, Baltimore chokes again, just like they did last year. So it seems like anytime we've played them recently, Baltimore finds a way to cough it up. And that's exactly what happens. And now, granted, Cook had some decent runs. He wasn't able to get much of anything going. I mean, at the same time, Buffalo's run defense was absolute trash, but then most defenses against Derrick Henry are absolute trash. So I look at it in that sense. But at the same time, when it really mattered, number one, Keon Coleman, great catches. But how about Josh Palmer?
Oh, yeah, Josh Palmer's been great. I mean, I know it's one game and all that. And it's funny because my wife and I were watching the game together, like we do for every Bills game. My wife pointed out something very interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a while to figure this out. She said that Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid look like they bulked up in the offseason. Kincaid looks more comfortable in the system.
Mm-hmm.
Coleman is starting to pick up the scheme in the system, which is great because everybody thought, he was a rookie receiver. He doesn't really know much. We're not expecting a lot from him. And then people were just about to write him off. And then all of a sudden, he comes in one of the clutch moments of the last ever home game at the old Highmark Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
But the big takeaway, Ed Oliver looks like he lost 30, 40 pounds. That dude
looks good.
That dude looks great. And I got to tell you, that famous meme from Thor Ragnarok with Kate Blanchett's character, and she's like, you can't beat me. And Thor said, I know I can't, but he can. And it's the rest of the D-line, but the Hulk is, in this allegory, is Ed Oliver. And I just think that's hilarious because it's true. Because if you watch the tape from the second half of the game, Ed Oliver was all over Derrick Henry.
He was, and he made a difference, and he absolutely did what he needed to do, which is a big plus. And then thinking about what we're looking at next in terms of the Bills matchups, in a lot of ways, it tends to get slightly easier, but no game is a gimme. Because if you look at what happened this past Sunday, the Jets were in it until the end. The Giants are the Giants. And a lot of teams that we wouldn't think would be performing as well as they are actually showing up. So it's definitely interesting to see what happens. Although I did love the Dolphins getting their ass handed to them by Danny Dimes. That was absolutely the best thing around. And even better is that Dolphins fan Tyler Taraboccia actually decided to wear Bills stuff this week because he did it in protest of how ass the Dolphins were.
I feel like he lives like rent free in your head.
Yeah, I think he lives in his mom's basement or something. Who knows?
Well, he lives in your basement, so let's put it that way.
In my basement.
Well, you talk about him like you're a secret ex-boyfriend or something like that,
Yeah, dude. No. Although, if he does if he were to ever watch this show, I will put this out there right now. I want him to call into this show and let's roast him. Let's have some fun with this. And let's do Bills versus Dolphins. Let's get it going. Because I can tell you, Josh Allen is still your daddy and will always be Tua's daddy, and there's no way in hell Tua's ever going to be as good.
Well, it's funny you said that because the rumor is that, at least from Miami Dolphins fans' perspectives, is there's been a rumor because of how abysmal they were against the Colts. How the fuck do you lose to Daniel Jones? You lost to Indiana Jones.
How?
I don't understand this. You not only don't score double-digit points, you get the shit kicked out of you by Daniel fucking Jones.
I know, right?
Daniel Jones.
It is absolutely got to be one of the most horrific losses of this season that's occurred in week one.
Pretty much. But I was going to say is that the rumor is that the Dolphins might be firing both Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer, the general manager, throughout the middle of the year.
Good. And I mean, they're not good enough.
First off, Greer should have been fired 5 years ago. That's number one. Number two, McDaniel has lost all control of that locker room. You could clearly tell. Mm-hmm. You could see it in the direction of the team that, they don't give a shit anymore. And it's clear to me that there's no direction and they don't want to get better. And the rumor now is that Tyreek Hill might want out because he's already regretting his decision about wanting to stay. And I say that very harshly because of the fingers. Mm-hmm. He was caught on the mic back in January against the Jets, and he's like, I don't want to be here. And the next thing you know, now he's bitching a storm because he didn't have any receptions for over 30 yards in over a year. And Tua, I think at this point he's starting to think, wow, this guy is shit. So I might want out. And the rumor is that the Kansas City Chiefs and the Pittsburgh Steelers are interested in Tyreek Hill.
Well, I mean, he'll help either team. That's a given. But it's like, Tyreek, you could have gotten out after last season. Why'd you stay?
Because of pride, man. Also, he also has sexual assault allegations against him, and then a bunch of other shit.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, no. Listen, I hate the Dolphins, and I will forever hate the Miami Dolphins. But I'm just saying, from a Bills fan's perspective, until you actually do something, nobody will take you seriously.
Right, exactly. And of course, hey, good old Mike McDaniel. I don't even think he knows where he is half the time, quite honestly, at this point.
No, I don't think so. But whatever, it's the Dolphins. But I will say, though, the Jets, on the other hand, the Jets are stupid. I mean, I will always say that. But here's the thing. The Jets are learning a new system with Aaron Glenn as the coach. I'll give the Jets credit. They were scoring 30 points, but then again, they were up against the Steelers. I'm not expecting the Jets to do this every year consistently, or every week for that matter. I don't expect them to, but I think it's just because Pittsburgh is a very old defensive group. I think that's why the Jets were able to do what they were able to do.
Right.
But it's also sad that Aaron Rodgers, who just got cut 7 months ago, and he goes back to MetLife and kicks their ass.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. He flat out, it was a shootout, but he destroyed them. I mean, he knew what to do. And Aaron Rodgers actually looked pretty good with that offense.
He did. And you know what's something that he has in Pittsburgh that he didn't have with the Jets? A structured offense. Like, I know what you're thinking. Arthur Smith is shitty offensive coordinator, but he's got DK Metcalf, Jalen Warren, Pat Fryermuth, he now has Jalen Ramsey on the back end with Cameron Hayward, TJ Watt, you name it. The Steelers have talent. They just have to accommodate with it.
Yeah. And they looked like they were a pretty good offensive machine from the parts of the game that I saw. And the thing is that defensively, I mean, yeah, Pittsburgh's getting older. They were letting Fields and the Jets get all over them, and it turned into a shootout at certain points. But then, of course, the Jets go 4 and out. And that was the end of the game right there. They just couldn't get it done. But, I mean, hats off to the Steelers, though. I mean, they came and they showed up and they did what they needed to do. And they looked actually a lot better than they have in a while.
I agree. But, again, I'm not saying that it's going to be like this forever. I mean, if the Jets improve and actually build a foundation, then I would probably say, yeah, you have a decent shot at it. But it's weird because it's like, we are so accustomed to the Jets being such garbage for all this time, and then all of a sudden now that they lost by only 2 points to a team like Pittsburgh, I don't know. I mean, I'm not expecting a lot from them. I really am not. A lot of Jets fans are like, I'm not sure if, Justin Fields is going to be the guy. I mean, that very well could be the case, but we really don't know.
Right, exactly. So, going into this coming week for the Bills, I mean, I do expect some defensive improvements. That's one of the big things that they are focusing on as we go forward into the week. But the good thing is, especially with Trey White possibly coming back, I mean, that's going to give some options that we will have at a corner. And then a lot of times now, especially with what's going to happen this week, it should actually allow us to open up the run game a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills have been trying to find their footing in that position for a while. I mean, you have guys like James Cook and Ray Davis and Ty Johnson, all contributing, which is great because the Bills have had a good run game now for about 3 or 4 years. So I think at this point they're now starting to change the momentum of the AFC. But I think it's very clear that the Bills, at least in this perspective, the Bills right now rule that division until someone knocks them out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they very much do. And I mean, if any indication, there is no way on this earth that Miami's doing anything anytime soon. So that we can simply say the Jets actually do have a chance to do something. They actually played fairly well. But you know what? Let's recap some of the games that happened. So of course, the Danny Dimes blowout, 33-8. That was what you would call back in the old days your lowcow of the week.
Yes, that is a locale of the week. But if you want to talk about locales, let's go back to even further a week ago from last Thursday from the Eagles-Cowboys game. Jalen Carter. What the actual flying fuck was that guy thinking?
I have no clue what he was thinking, because I could just say straight up, that was horrific.
Yeah, no. And then it's like Cowboys fans will complain. Well, no, I'm sorry, not Cowboys fans, Eagles fans. Eagles fans will say, well, Dak spat first. I don't think Dak was intentionally trying to spit Jalen Carter. I think he was just trying to spit to the ground. Jalen Carter just comes out of nowhere and goes, ha, two, just to his face.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what are you doing? You're an idiot.
Yeah, seriously.
And what's even worse is that it came out yesterday that Jalen Carter was serving the 1-game suspension, but he's playing on Sunday against Kansas City.
Yeah, which that's absolutely crazy on top of it. And then when you look at the stats of that game, I mean, really, there wasn't a lot of throwing yards.
No.
When you look at it, I mean, Prescott only threw for 188. Hurts only threw for 152, but he also ran for 62, had 2 rushing touchdowns, and he got 4.4 yards per carry. And Williams on the rushing side for the Cowboys, he had 15 attempts, only 54 yards. He got 2 touchdowns. He averaged 3.6. But then CeeDee Lamb had a good game. I mean, he was the one bright spot for the Cowboys, basically going for 110 yards on 7 receptions, but he couldn't score. He only averaged 15.7 a carry.
No, and to me, the Cowboys, they're clearly, I mean, ever since they traded Micah Parsons, which is almost 2 weeks in, was easily the stupidest fucking thing they did, was getting rid of Micah Parsons because Jerry Jones said, nah, I'm just going to pay everyone else, but I'm not going to pay the best defensive player on the Dallas Cowboys, period. I'm not going to bother doing that. Nah, he's an asshole. He can go someplace else. And then look what happened a week later. You trade him. You trade him to the Green Bay Packers.
And he shows up and goes lights out against the Lions.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And Micah Parsons, and I'm pretty sure he meant it. He said, I'm never playing a game for the Cowboys ever again. And he was right. And he gets traded, and then he just plays great football for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. And speaking of that game, the Packers end up winning 27-13. So it's one of those, the Lions didn't really show up. They didn't do much. But when you look at that specific game, I mean, Dobbs had 68 yards receiving. Laporta had 79. Jacobs ran for 66, which he did have a touchdown. He had about 3.5 per carry. David Montgomery only was limited to 25 yards. He had 11 attempts, no touchdowns, and he only averaged 2.3. So he had a non-productive game. That was probably one of the worst games that he's had. And then when you look at the passing game, I mean, Goff threw for 225, had a touchdown and an interception. Love, no interceptions. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns and he only threw for 188. But then what ends up happening is that the rushing game was definitely in Green Bay's favor, and Micah Parsons was just lights out. He totally limited what the Lions could do.
He totally dictated that game on his own, mind you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then how about one of the worst matchups of the week, the Bengals and the Browns? And it comes down to the missed field goal.
They both suck. Next.
Yeah, exactly. Then the Bucs and the Falcons, 23-20 to open that up in Atlanta, which I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I expected that from Atlanta. Next.
Yeah, well, at least the Chiefs lost to the Chargers 27-21 in the game on Friday night over in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
See, that game actually matters because we've been saying for a couple of years now, since the Bills have been consistently competitive, was we always talked about, the Bills, they have to get the number 1 seed if they're going to reach the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And right now, it's looking very good. The Chiefs lose, the Bills won, and the Ravens lost. So
yes,
it looks very good. So they just have to play their game. They just have to continue to win games and don't lose your spot the rest of the way, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah, 100%.
That's how I look at it. But if you want to be strategic about the Bills as far as everything is concerned, let's talk about Josh Allen because that guy was on a tear on Sunday night.
4th quarter comeback.
Oh, yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't he have like 250 plus yards and 3 touchdowns in the final 10 minutes?
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy because he went lights out for it. Got the majority of his scoring in the 4th quarter. I mean, ends up finding Palmer, ends up finding Coleman. He knew exactly where to go. And good thing for Keon Coleman being aware of where that out of bounds mark was because that absolutely helped us with stopping the clock, giving us time that we needed. And of course, that eventually set up the 32-yard field goal by Matt Prater.
You know what's funny too is that Matt Prater was only on the team at that time until Thursday, and he told the story saying that he was coaching his son's football team in Arizona. Yeah, what was it? What kind of league was it? Was it like Pee Wee or like what was it?
Yeah, it's like I mean, it's definitely like a young kids league. I don't know like the age range that they had in there, but it's definitely a kids football.
Yeah, and his son is the quarterback apparently.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and it's funny because everyone said, "Well, Matt Prater, what are you going to do with him?" And then all of a sudden, he comes in for Tyler Bass, who's injured right now, and he scores one of the last big moments ever at the old Highmark Stadium, and he's apparently on the cover of the thumbnail of this video, which is great.
Yeah, very true. And hey, he's clutch. He came in when it mattered. So, and then of course, you want to know what one of the biggest embarrassments is for me in fantasy football this week?
What?
So my money league, I had Josh Allen. Of course, my kicker did nothing. I had 2 running backs that got 0, and I lost by 10. Lost 137-127 in my money league.
Didn't you lose in our league too? Because apparently you suck dick at fantasy for some reason.
No, I won.
You won? Wow, I'm shocked.
Yeah, I won like 2 out of my 3 games.
Funny. I didn't think that you were gonna win, but I guess it's whatever.
Yeah, like my one league, I put up like over 170 points, which was kind of crazy, but no, 2-1 this week in fantasy. So I'm like, all right, it's a good start. I mean, and granted, I mean, considering that I had 2 running backs that were absolute trash on my money league, and then basically with my kicker being trash, it's like, all right, I still almost pulled out a almost non-possible win, but
it is what it is, I suppose.
Yeah, it's only week 1. There's still time to make some money on that league, so.
Absolutely. So I do want to mention one thing very quickly is that I want to say I give Chris Tabor, the special teams coordinator, a lot of credit because, for one, Chris Tabor was just hired by the Bills a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And compare that to when Matthew Smiley was the ST coach.
Oh, Jesus, don't
The special teams coordinating was terrible. And then look at it now. They look more well prepared. And when McDermott burning out all 3 timeouts with under 30 seconds to go when they were driving up the momentum, it's like at that point, it's crazy to think because I genuinely thought that the Bills were going to lose that game because they weren't competent enough to run the clock, but apparently they were, thank God. But I will say that for Sean McDermott to burn 3 timeouts, forcing the Ravens to burn 3 timeouts as well, and then let the clock wind down when it goes 3, 2, 1. As the ball is going in, I'm like, oh my God, what a comeback. What an absolute glamorous comeback by the Buffalo Bills. I would probably say this is one of the craziest, if not in the top 5, craziest games in Buffalo Bills history.
Yeah, I would agree. And then how about that one play at the end of the first half where Baltimore was running into the locker room when we still had a second left on the clock?
Hold on, Baltimore. Hold on.
Yeah, seriously. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, and you should see the Ravens fans on there. They're like bitching and moaning. Yeah, the refs are giving it to Josh Allen because he's the MVP. Shut the fuck up, take the L, and suck my fat dick. Because at the end of the day, the Ravens couldn't go anywhere with this team, okay? Baltimore had full control, and they were up by, 10 at that time? Yeah, before the field goal. And it's like, oh, you're whining and crying like a bitch because you couldn't get what you wanted off of one goddamn play. I mean, come on. I mean, what more can you ask for? I mean, I get it. And, you're fighting for aspirations. But if Josh Allen, of all people, is pointing out, hey, he has 1 extra second on the clock, you have to double check those things. If the Ravens did that, they'd say, hang on, we have something to accommodate for.
Exactly.
But when it gets them, it's like, we didn't get what we want. It's like, shut up. Just shut up, okay? We've heard you cry all fucking year. We heard you cry all offseason saying, Lamar should have been the MVP. It should have been Josh Allen. He didn't deserve it. And they're like, do you know ball? Do you know ball? Because at the end of the day, if you look at Josh Allen, he came up clutch last season when it actually mattered. Even now.
Yeah, and he did a lot more with a lot less. I mean, Baltimore has Derrick Henry. You got Zay Flowers. What does Josh Allen have?
Like, what are you bitching about? You know,
Right.
it's like, yeah, you have Derrick Henry, you have Zay Flowers, you have Rashad Bateman, you have all these weapons. And you're complaining that, oh, because of 1 second off the second half clock, you're like, can we, we're going in the locker room and you cry about it?
Yeah, absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. But there were some other games that actually took place. And then, of course, here's one that actually took place down in the South. The Jaguars actually beat the Panthers 26-10. But Pete Carroll, the oldest coach in the league, the Raiders go 1-0 as they end up beating the Patriots 20-13. And oh, sweet Jesus, thank you for beating New England.
Yeah, because I don't think Patriots fans would be able to handle the idea the Buffalo Bills are probably going to win the division again, I would imagine.
For the 6th year in a row.
Something like that, yeah. At this point, though, Tom, I think it's very clear that I think most people have come to terms that the Bills are a very consistent playoff team.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good thing. It's something we haven't had in a long, long time. So the fact that ever since for the last 8 out of 9 years we've been in the playoffs, hey, it's great to see that after 17 years of no playoffs.
Yeah, and Ravens fans, one thing too, stop crying, okay? If you want to talk about how Lamar's better than Josh Allen, then explain to me how many wins does Lamar have in the playoffs against Josh Allen?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Go ahead. Tell me.
Yeah. Virtually none.
Exactly. Now shut it.
Exactly. Then, of course, going around the league, we had some other games, and we did talk about the Steelers and the Jets. How about the Cardinals and the Saints? The Saints lose 20-13 at home, so that was almost next to nothing. We'll talk about Giants and Commanders in a few, but the Broncos end up beating the Titans 20-12. The Seahawks lose to the 49ers 17-13 at home, and we've been in. It's hard to believe it's been almost a year since we've been at Lumen Field already.
I know, it's crazy. And it's been 6 months for me since I've been to Seattle. I told you, for those of you who don't know, I went on my trip to Alaska back in May, and I had a blast. And I had to fly to Seattle. So that was my second time in almost a year that I went to Seattle. So there you go.
Yep. Yeah. Fun city. And of course, if you guys want to watch any of what we did last year out there and when we were there in October, go to our YouTube channel, Horns and Hooves Entertainment, and look under Road to 32. You'll see all 3 Seattle videos. We had the one, of course, Bob and myself, we went to the Kraken game our first night. We then took a day trip out to Vancouver where we got to see the Vancouver Canucks play in Tyler Myers' 1000th game. And then, of course, we were there for the Bills game. And, of course, the massive downpour happened right at the end.
Yep, and then I went there as well for the Seattle Mariners, but that's a whole different story.
Yep, yeah. So actually, that's a 4th video that you put up there. So
yeah, so I was going to say, what you talking about, Willis?
Well, there was 3 that when I was out there, and then you did the 4th. So there's that. But then looking at some of the other games, Rams beat the Texans 14-9. We already covered the Bills and Ravens. And then how about Monday Night Football? The Vikings come back. They win against the Bears 27-24 in Chicago.
2 words. Snooze fest.
Yeah, literally. That game was not enjoyable to watch.
That game, honestly, was so boring. I mean, I get it. It's J.J. McCarthy's first game, because he tore his meniscus the year before and didn't get a chance to play. This year, he has a chance to play. I got to tell you, he reminds me of Nick Foles. I don't know why.
Yeah, something about him. And, just thinking about that specific game itself, I mean, Caleb Williams totally outshined him. I mean, Williams went for 210, touchdown, no interceptions. McCarthy only went for 143. I mean, he did get 2 touchdowns and an interception, though. So, I mean, in that sense, Williams had better production, but then he also ran for 58 yards and a touchdown itself. So, I mean, altogether, when you're putting up a combined total of 268 versus 143, Williams owned it, and they should have won. But then when you look at the rushing side, Mason only had 68, and then receiving, Jones only had 44, but got a touchdown, had 14.7 as an average. And then Moore for the Bears had 3 receptions, no yards, but he averaged 22.7 and 68 yards.
All I'm just gonna say is the Bears suck.
Yeah, they do. It wasn't worth it. It was not a good game to say the least. And actually, a lot of these matchups this past Sunday were not that great.
Yeah, and the two coming up on Monday night. Oh my God, week 2, which is the Buccaneers and the Texans, and then at 10 p.m. is the Chargers and the Raiders.
Oh God.
Yeah, exactly. I can't even stay up to watch the whole Charger Raider game if I really wanted to. So that means we're gonna have to be stuck with that shitty Buccaneers Texans game. I mean, I'm not saying that they're bad per se because they both made the playoffs last year, which in general would be a nice matchup. But it's like no one really cares because neither one of them go far.
Right. So it's just a matter at this point. It's like, is it even worth watching? Is it not worth watching? A lot of times with that stuff coming up, I could pass on it.
Yeah. So while we're here, let's discuss week 2 because the Bills have a very big game coming up on Sunday with the division rival with the New York Jets at MetLife Stadium at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on CBS.
So biggest things we got to do, obviously, number one, Josh Allen, keep the momentum going. That's really the big thing. Keep it going. Use that arm. James Cook has got to get more yards. I mean, straight up, he has got to do more. And I understand the Ravens' run defense is really, really good. But the Jets' defense is not nearly as good as what Baltimore was. So Cook should be able to get some openings. And you figure the run game, if we can pound it down their throat a little bit, hey, that's all good. But then same thing, get Coleman involved too. Get them the ball. Involve the tight ends as well. Get Kincaid involved, get Knox involved. Because, I mean, Kincaid actually looked a lot better than what he had for most of last season. So the fact, get them involved, just open up the attack a little bit. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but it's like you look at the Jets and you say to yourself, okay, you have Garrett Wilson, you have Justin Fields, you have, Breece Hall, who, by the way, I'm convinced the Jets are trying to trade him because why would Breece Hall get that many touches in the season opener against Pittsburgh when they've specifically said that they wanted to put their eggs on the Braylon Allen basket? So that to me says that Breece Hall might be getting traded in October at the trade deadline to a contender if it's possible, if by that point the Jets are out of contention. If they're in contention to make the playoffs of the wildcard team, then they have a shot to possibly keep him, but I'm not counting on it. But as far as Justin Fields, I think he looked okay.
Yeah, Fields actually looked pretty good. I mean, he kept them in the game for sure. So that's basically what we ended up seeing. But essentially, the Bills do have to open up the offense a little bit. And I'm sure that they can. I mean, with the Jets, historically, they don't have that great of a defense. And even when Saleh was the head coach, they really didn't perform that well defensively. So that's just kind of where we're at. And obviously, as the Bills go into this week, if they can just, limit any turnovers, which they've been doing a pretty good job with, they should be fine. It should be able to go in to MetLife and get a nice win.
I mean, I hope so because you never know with the Jets. The Jets, to me, are the only team in the division that are considered a wild card to me. When I say that, I don't mean, they'll make the playoffs. What I mean by this is that they're that one team in the AFC East that could make the Bills' lives a little bit harder than it actually has to be. So, because you do have some players on the defensive side of the ball. You have Jermaine Johnson, you have Will McDonald, you have Sauce Gardner, and then you bring in a bunch of other, talent players as well. And then you have Justin Fields on the offense with Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, who I said before. Yeah. And then they have Mason Taylor, who's a rookie tight end. So the Jets have talent. It's just they have to execute on that. But the Bills have experience. They know how to take down the Jets. But because this is not the Robert Saleh team, this is an Aaron Glenn team. So this could be a very different ball team, for all we know.
It very well could be. And especially if the Jets get their corners going, and especially if they decide to plug up the middle, then, there could be some interesting things defensively that we end up seeing.
It could, but also think of it like this, is that Aaron Glenn was the defensive coordinator for the Lions for a while. And if you look at Detroit now from this past week against Green Bay, they don't look anywhere near close to the same as they were.
That defense went backwards.
Oh yeah, big time. They went backwards, and I think what's going to kill the Lions is letting those two guys go, Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. But Aaron Glenn is a very good structured coach. So I think if you could get to the defense early, you have a chance to win. But you have to get to Justin Fields also. That's another big thing.
Yep, for sure. For sure. So it'll be an interesting matchup. And then one of the things, and I know that we had this in our little show list, and I wasn't sure if John wanted to talk about this or not. I know he's going to be coming back on in a little bit, but the Giants versus the Commanders.
Their defense looks decent. I will say that. Their offense looks like shit. I watched that game on Sunday. I was flipping between them and the Jets, and I'm flipping back and forth, and I'm saying to myself, holy shit, the Giants' offense looks like crap. Russell Wilson looks like he should be in a retirement home. That's for one.
Yeah.
Number two, Cam Scatterboo, the new running back, he's a beast. I'll take that away from him. He's very strong, too. I'll say that.
He was the one bright spot.
Absolutely. So, again, they have the pieces, but they got to build around it. The defense, though, is the big one. You have Dexter Lawrence. You have Abdul Carter, Brian Burns. You have three guys in your front seven that could get to the quarterback. And to me, you want to build that foundation. But as far as the Giants are concerned, their defense looks solid, but their offense needs a lot of work. And who's to say that, it took a whole village to develop Josh Allen, according to Mr. Brian Dable, the AKA, the offensive-minded group.
Yeah, who couldn't develop Daniel Jones?
Yeah, how is it that you could develop Josh Allen, but you couldn't develop Daniel Jones? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, which means either Josh Allen's a lot better than everyone thought he was, which we all know he is a lot better than everyone thought he was initially, or Daniel Jones was that much worse than everybody thought, and he proved that he was much worse than everybody thought.
I'll keep an eye on Indianapolis throughout the season, but I'm convinced that it was just because it was the Dolphins.
You mean the Giants?
No, the Colts.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm talking about Daniel Jones.
Okay. I thought you said the Dolphins for some reason. I don't know why, but...
No, I said the Colts.
Okay. But yeah, just to kind of do a quick comparison. Daniels for Washington, 233 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 63.3% completion percentage. Russell Wilson, one of the worst completion percentages of the week at only 46%. No touchdowns, no interceptions. He had 168 throwing yards. He had 8 rushing attempts for 44, and he averaged 5.5. But guess what? No touchdowns.
Yay.
And Malik Neighbors didn't do anything either. He had 5 receptions, 71 yards, 14.2 average. Samuel for Washington, 7 receptions, no touchdowns, and he averaged 11. So, but Krosky Merritt was the bright spot rushing because he did have 10 attempts. He had a touchdown and he had 82 yards, but 8.2 yards per carry is what he averaged. That will win you football games.
It would, but also think of it like this. You also have Austin Eckler in the back end with him. So and people have already called him Wild Bill. Like Wild Bill as in like William Carlson from the Vegas Golden Knights Wild Bill. But no, that's a great nickname for a football player because you never know what you're going to get out of him. But it's also fair. It's also funny how he specifically said, I forget his name, like his real name. I think it's like Cromarion or something like that. I don't, something like that. And he says, just call me Bill. It's just easier that way.
Yeah. So, it's interesting how everything all ends up panning out. I mean, it was an interesting first week. We will say that. Obviously, what happens is that we know there's always things to clean up week 1. But at the same time, when you look at week 1 and how things ended up going, it was actually, a lot of the matchups were not great, but there were actually some pretty decent things that we had a chance to see. So, that being said, we know what the Bills need to clean up. Obviously, that's going to happen. But it'll be an interesting week, too, to say the least. And, certainly things should be pretty interesting as we go forward. But that being said, I know there's a couple other things we're going to talk about as well. And one of the things that's going to be coming up on one of our episodes, I think it's even next week, we have our second interview of the season.
You want to take a guess who it is first?
Yeah, we've met him, Mr. Urinating Tree.
Yep, Urinating Tree is coming on the I-86 After Dark next week. And let me tell you, the strings I pulled to get him was not easy, but I got him.
Yeah, he is difficult to find.
Oh yeah, he's like Sasquatch. But Tree was awesome, and we are going to be releasing that interview during the show next week. So I cannot wait for you guys to hear this because I think you're going to like what he has to say. He's got some very interesting plans coming up in the very near future.
Yep, for sure. And then, of course, if you didn't catch the interview we released last week, the Darius Kasparaitis interview is on our YouTube as well as our Spotify and Odyssey platform. So, of course, definitely check that out. It was a good 51-minute interview. Last week when we tried to go live, we apologize. There were some sound issues, so we released the interview separately. And that's why we're on a different platform this week, which we know there's no issues, and I have YouTube on the other screen watching what we do. And the good thing is there's been no issues. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, no. So again, we apologize about last week because let me just put it out now so that everyone can hear it. Tom's computer is a piece of shit.
Yeah. So here's the thing, and I'll explain what happened.
It's a piece of shit. I'm just letting you know.
Well, yeah, it doesn't work anymore. It's dead. So for those who followed us on the old show, Buffalo After Dark, we did a big computer upgrade partway through, I think, season 4. And I will just say it was a souped up HP Z6 workstation, dual processors, no issue. What happens a year and a half later, of course, computer's out of warranty. And literally the night before, it was Tuesday night, right before, and Bob can tell you, I was going off the deep end because the motherboard fried itself.
Yeah.
Which means the computer is shot unless I want to totally gut the entire thing, rebuild it, which I don't have time to do. And literally we spent, what did I take? Like almost 8 hours to like move everything over from the cloud backup to my laptop, which is
it was
what
like
I'm on
8 or 9 hours that you had to do it for.
Yeah.
It was bad.
And then, I mean, we got stuff moved over and we recovered the interviews, which are great. But at the same time, then we had issues with Zoom and we had issues with XSplit with the feed. And there was a lot of stuff that went on that we would not have expected to happen. So, thanks to our buddy John here, who's producing our show right now. And we have a platform to use for a while. So, it's a great thing. And of course, speaking of producer John,
hey, Chad, you're back.
What's funny is I was in the background and you were saying producer John. I was like, oh, let me just hit add to stage now.
Oh man, good timing. We were talking about the computer meltdown, but then we were just talking about the Giants and the Commanders.
I'm just gonna say this right now. I said this last week. I have no faith in this Giants team. And after what we saw on Sunday, when they shit the bed with the Commanders, my faith in this team has gone down. And I'm just going to say this right now. If management knows what's right for them, you get rid of Brian Dable already. I don't know what the fuck you guys are thinking of. Because for this reason, I know Bobby was waiting for me to do this.
Dude, yes, I was wanting you to do this.
What I'm failing to understand is this, and it's something I don't understand with New York sports. Okay, because you look at the Yankees, for example. Aaron Boone has done nothing as the manager of the Yankees, yet he still has a job. Tom Thibodeau, who was the coach of the Knicks, took the team to the conference finals, and he gets fired. Can somebody explain this logic to me, please?
Yeah. And then Dolan hires Mike Brown to replace him.
Oh, yeah, whoop-de-doo. But as far as the Giants, listen. I'm just going to say this, though. Listen, Giants here. If you're watching this or somehow this gets to you, fire Dable already. I know I'm jumping the gun way too quick here, but this is ridiculous that we get rid of Daniel Jones. Okay, fine. You don't want to pay him. You get Miami made look like the second coming of Joe Montana. You get rid of Saquon Barkley because, we don't want to pay him that much. Well, he just became the third coming of LaDainian Tomlinson in Philly. And you're gonna tell me this team's gonna do something?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I feel so bad for you. Hey, John, when's your birthday? In October?
March.
Fuck. Okay. As I was gonna do for you is I was gonna get you a paper bag with the logo or for New York on it, and just have it on your head. Someone said I'm looking forward to the draft.
Because this is what I'm feeling. I'm trying to be calm here in the producer role. I'm trying to stay calm here, but
Get away, man. It's an uncensored show. You know that.
We know it at this point.
But when the New York, and I hate, this is the one thing that drives me nuts. I've been doing sports shows, guys. For people who are watching this, may not know, I've been doing this whole podcasting thing, radio thing since August of 2011. So I've been in this position, producing and hosting sports shows since 2011. Okay, so I kind of have been through the trenches already, to say the least. And I feel like every year I'm sitting here bitching and complaining about the New York teams, and they continue to suck ass. Thank you, and good night.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yes, please.
Oh,
that was awesome. That was awesome. Round of applause for that. Really.
Yeah. We have a good rant finally. All right.
Yes. So. One that is not named Bob Hansen.
Right. Or me going off the deep end. So.
You could just see it in John's face. He's like,
oh, yeah. He wanted to.
I hate them so much.
Right?
And the funny thing is, hold on. The funny thing is, I don't want to sit here every week and bitch and complain about these teams. But I'm sorry, when they're doing the shit they're fucking doing on that field, I don't care if you're talking about the Giants, and let's touch on the Jets here for a second. They showed a brief glimmer, but it was also only game one, folks. They're not winning the fucking Super Bowl this year. Seriously.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Oh God, this already goes down for one of the best moments
This
of the
is great
year.
already. Thank you. I appreciate the laugh. I really do.
Man,
this is too funny to me.
This is great. I mean, we needed
listen,
a good rant.
Listen, it could be worse, John. You could be a Jets fan for all we know.
Fortunately, I'm a Giants fan, but at this point, I don't care. At this point, get me to next baseball season. How about that?
There you go.
Next September. Jesus Christ, John. That's
like baseball season.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah,
I know. We're still in baseball season.
Yeah, I know. I just said, geez, if it's only September, we still got like 7 months.
Get me to next season, because let's be honest, the Giants are going to suck. The Jets suck. The Rangers suck.
Well, why would anybody root for the Rangers to begin with? They suck.
Right. And yeah, who knows what the Knicks will do? And then, of course, there's the New Jersey Devils.
Nobody cares about the Devils.
I like the Devils personally. I respect them. I like New Jersey.
The last time I think anybody cared about the Devils was in the early 2000s. You had the NHL. I forgot what the NHL game was, and you could pick 3 guys, and 9 times out of 10 you picked the Devils because you had Scott Gomez, like 2 other guys, Patrick Elias.
Mm-hmm.
And forgot the other guy, and they would always dominate. That's the last time Jersey was relevant. Let's call a spade a spade.
Wow, that's so totally unfair. It's not like the Hughes brothers, 2 of them at least, in the last few years have been like, been on the cover of NHL 25 or something like that. Something down the line.
Be on the cover is whoop-de-doo. Great. Let's all sing in Kumbaya then.
I'm just saying, John. I mean, the Devils haven't been relevant in 20 years. I mean, come on, man.
They haven't.
What do you mean? I mean, listen. As far as I'm concerned, they have done a hell of a lot more in the most recent memory since like the Islanders. Okay, the Devils have done more at that point. At least my perspective.
Let's move on.
Yes.
Yeah.
He just wants to kick my ass because he knows I'm right.
Oh, so good. In fact, you know what? let's hit the sports desk. We haven't done that yet tonight, so we'll go with that. But one of the big things, and this is actually something that that was celebrated in Pittsburgh, Paul Skeens with his 200th strikeout. So, but Pittsburgh is tied with Baltimore 1-1 in the end of the eighth. In the middle of the eighth, Kansas City is on top of Cleveland 4-3. At the bottom of the seventh, Washington's losing to Miami 4-3 in the good old place where we saw the Phillies Karen this past week. Then, of course, 2-0. Houston's up on Toronto at the bottom of the seventh. And the Mets are getting their ass handed to them 8-1 against the Phillies in the top of the seventh. At the bottom of the sixth, New York Yankees are losing to Detroit 2-0. Top of the sixth, the Chicago Cubs are up on Atlanta 3-2. And right now at the top of the fifth, and this is actually a free game on MLB.com, the Chicago White Sox are actually winning in the top of the fifth. They're beating Tampa Bay 6-2. And of course, with that in the top of the second, no score with Cincinnati and San Diego. And then, of course, your later games tonight, we have St. Louis and Seattle at 9:40 Eastern time in Seattle. At 10:10 game, we have Colorado and the LA Dodgers, which, of course, if anyone wants to know how bad Colorado is, 40-105 on the season.
Jesus Christmas, that's terrible.
Next year, they'll win the World Series.
Yeah, really. And then, of course, a couple finals. The Texas Rangers beat Milwaukee 6-3. The Athletics beat Boston 5-4. The San Francisco Giants lose to Arizona 5-3. And then we also had the LA Angels win against the Minnesota Twins 4-3. And that is your sports desk for I-86 After Dark tonight.
Yeah. So speaking of the Mets, they've been up and down all year long. I think most of us expected this. But is anybody aside myself here really concerned that they're going to miss the playoffs? I mean, fuck the Reds at this point. I'm talking about San Francisco. They're literally like 2 games back at this point of that last wild card spot in the National League race.
I mean, I would say I'm not super worried at this point. Now, if we end up getting to a longer losing streak, then that's one thing. But right now, I think we should be all right. Let's just make sure we win more games than not.
Well, I mean, according to multiple stats, I should say, the Mets, I think if I'm not mistaken, the Mets are currently going to be on a 5-game losing streak, and that really is not saying a lot. I mean, right now they have, 74 wins, 76 wins, somewhere in between?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Jesus Christ. Can that team do anything right? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, 2 weeks ago, I was nervous about the Reds making it to the playoffs. And then you have the Giants, of all people. It's like the Giants are coming out of nowhere, and then the Mets are just hanging by a thread. Then you have the Padres. Then you have the Cubs. And then, of course, you have, like, the Brewers and the Phillies doing great things this year. So, I mean, I hope that for the sake of argument for Mets fans that they make the playoffs and make it interesting. But I'm almost ready at this point, maybe unless – you or John have a different opinion than I do about it, but I have this feeling they're going to choke. And they're going to choke on that last piece of cookie crumb out of the box just to miss the playoffs. They play like 1 game.
I hope that's not the case, but when you're going on 5+ game losing streaks multiple times during the season, that does not help your chances.
Yeah, no, because if you look at the NL East right now, the Brewers are at number 1 at 89-58, and they're over 600. The Phillies lead the NL East, which is obvious, at 86-60 for right now. And then you have the Dodgers at 81-64. Both those teams are above 500. Yep. Then you have in the wild card race, because there's 3 slots, you have the Cubs, the Padres, and the Mets. The Cubs are at 82-63, and then they're at over 500. Then you have the Padres at 79-66, who's also at 500 at 545. And then the Mets are at 76, or soon to be 70, 76-70, and then 524 as of this recording. Then you have the Giants, and then you have the Reds, and then the Diamondbacks, who somehow have taken their fists out of their butthole, and they started to spread their poop shit all over the air for everyone to sniff at, because it is going to get ugly real fast.
Well, here's the thing, not after that lovely visual. Bobby, with
Now there's an image.
exactly. Here's the Giants' schedule for the rest of the year. They got the Dodgers for 3 game set, Arizona for 3 games, the Dodgers for 4, St. Louis for 3, and then they close out with Colorado. That's for the Giants.
That's doable.
Now, if you look at, and I'm going to pull the Mets, what the Mets have coming up as well. After tonight's game, you have one more. They have one more game with Philly tomorrow. Then we got 3 games home with Texas, 3 games home with San Diego, 3 games home with Washington, 3 away in Chicago, and 3 away in Miami. I'm going to tell you right now, in those, what would that be? 1, 2, 15 games figure?
Something like that.
I would say if they can at least go, if they can minimize it to 5 losses, I think, in the next 10 games, in the next 15 games, minimize it to 5 losses.
Yeah.
I don't see them having a problem. Because realistically, you got Texas. Okay, they're not a difficult team. San Diego, it depends. Washington's not going to do anything. Miami, we all know, is not going to do anything. Mm-hmm. Realistically, the only 2 teams you got to worry about really are Texas and Chicago coming up. And by that point, if the Cubs already clinch, who's to say that the Cubs aren't going to start sitting guys? Because you got to remember, by that point, you're talking the week of the 22nd, you're going to have teams that are clinching already.
Right.
That are going to have spots already. And for the Cubs, for example, who's to say once they clinch, you don't see them starting to sit their starters. Mm-hmm. And the guys that normally would play in the 9 innings all of a sudden get pulled after 4, get pulled after 5, let's say.
Right. And actually, I was going to say, and I forgot about this, but we actually had a comment on the YouTube channel, and of course, we want to say hi to Sugar Shack. We didn't see it until just now. He's already calling it a season for the Giants. He said he's looking forward to the draft.
We actually have 2 more comments. Jay said Seattle looks good too. And he also said the Padres, I feel, are the only team that can KO the Dodgers out of the playoffs.
Interesting.
You know what's funny with the Dodgers? Go ahead, Bobby.
What I was going to say is that I don't think the Dodgers are as good as people say they are. I mean, the Padres are probably in the same conversation. But if you take it into the equation, yes, the Padres have a good team, but the Dodgers have an all-star caliber team around them. The Dodgers have been dealing with injuries all season long. And their pitching depth, I mean, get rid of Dustin May. I think, I understood what they were trying to do because they're so loaded with pitchers. There was no way in hell they were keeping him. And Dustin May would have been really he would have really came in handy if they kept him and not traded him to the Red Sox. That's just my opinion.
I was going to say this. As far as the Dodgers, yes, they're a good team. Don't get me wrong. But we had this argument, Bobby, last week when I was talking about with the Braves. And I said I thought the Braves weren't that good of a team in the 90s. You remember that discussion we had last week?
Mm-hmm. I remember this, yeah.
The Dodgers, they're a good team. They've won the World Series twice, okay? But with how much money they've spent on guys like Ohtani, half of Team Japan, I feel like them being, 2-time World Series champions now in the last couple of years?
Mm-hmm. Dodgers, I think, it's 2 times in the last 4 or 5 years. And that's going back to the pandemic a few years ago.
Yep.
I still think they should have at least won the World Series at least once or twice more. Mm-hmm. Because of the fact with how much they've spent. There's been times, and I remember this vividly, when they would be this dominant team, this dominant force, and be kicked out in the first round. And they always say this, the postseason is a different season.
It might just be competition. I mean, because the National League Conference alone has some pretty damn good teams in there. I mean, you would probably throw maybe the Phillies in there in that conversation. The Brewers were expected to do some good things in the playoffs last year, but they lost to the fucking Mets. And that's not saying much because I'm a Met fan, but it's at that time frame, you think to yourself, if the NL East or the National League Conference in general is going to be competitive, you want to bulk up. That's why the Mets got Juan Soto. That's why the Dodgers got Shohei Ohtani. That's why the Padres draft so well and they trade very well. To me, the Padres are like the Eagles of baseball. They always find a loophole in every big trade that they've made. I mean, look at back earlier in July when they got Mason Miller. I mean, nobody thought they were going to trade that the A's were going to trade him, and then he goes to the Padres and then just killing it. I mean, it's all about bulking, really, because depth to me is the most important aspect of any playoff team in baseball.
Yeah, we got another comment coming from Jay over in YouTube.
Yeah, he said, I truly think it was a mistake letting Walker Buehler go. Like, he's clutch when it matters, but I get why they did it, though. I mean, again, going back to my earlier statement, it's all about depth. Because if this was the same argument the Dodgers made for Walker Buehler, the same could be said for Dustin May. The only difference is that the Dodgers actually were able to get something for him and not let him walk for nothing. Because when healthy, Walker Buehler could be a very good pitcher. And I understand where he's coming from. But it's more of the idea that they're so loaded. Like, you can only do so and have so many pitchers. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. And it's, as far as the Dodgers, like I said, I still think they should have won at least one or two more World Series in the last couple of years.
Perhaps. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same camp as you guys. They should have won more. They didn't.
Well, at the end of the day, Dodgers have 2 rings, and the Mets haven't won shit in 4 decades.
Yep, very true. Very
I
true.
hate my life because, well, that's just the reality of the situation. Because the only thing I can hope for is that at least the Mets make a big far run in the playoffs. Buffalo, if you were the front office, would you let Walker Buehler go? No, I would not let him go. Only because he's a good clutch pitcher when needed. But it also comes down to health.
Very true. And then, we've got some other sports news that ended up coming up. One of the first things that ended up happening this week is Davey Johnson passed away.
Yeah, Davey Johnson, man, that was a biggie. David Johnson was for those of you who don't know, he was the manager of the 1986 World Series champion New York Mets, and he also coached a bunch of teams, including the Reds in the mid-90s during the reign or in the regime of Mark Schott, of all people. And she was a bitch. And but Davey Johnson, there's a very interesting story about him. Have you heard that story before, Tom?
I actually haven't, so this is actually going to be new.
So what happened was when Davey Johnson, and I'm sure John's heard the story too, is when Davey Johnson was with the Reds, right? Mm-hmm. Mark Schott had a very interesting rule saying that men couldn't be hanging out with women. So in this case, Davey Johnson was married or soon to tie the knot to a woman that he was not married to, but he was living with her. And Mark Schott got a wind of this and fired him for it.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, wow. I did not know that story.
Crazy.
Yeah, no, that when Mark Schott was running the Reds, she treated it like it was like the bubonic plague. She was great with the public, but she treated the players like shit. And her St. Bernards would just run around the Red River Stadium or Great River Stadium, whatever it was called, for the old ballpark for the Reds. And Mark Schott just abused, not physically, but emotionally, just destroyed Davey Johnson. So that's one story that came out about him when he was, the manager for Cincinnati.
That's an interesting story.
I was just looking up something with Davey Johnson. First of all, I didn't know he was a former player. He played for a number of years. Yeah, but here's an interesting thing. From 1976 to 1978, he played in a league called MPW, which is the Nippon Professional Baseball League, apparently. I didn't know this existed.
Me either.
I literally... it's often referred to as Japanese baseball, apparently. but apparently that's the name for it. And he played there he started November 2nd, 1976, and played till 78 when he went back to the Cubs. But here's the other thing that's kind of interesting. He was a manager. Obviously, we know he was a manager, but we're going to play a little trivia now. If you guys are up for a few minutes.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm fine with whatever.
Other than the Mets and the Reds, can you guys name the other 3 teams he managed?
I want to say one of them was the Tigers. No?
Nope.
Okay. Tom, do you know an answer to this question?
I'm going to say maybe the Giants.
Nope.
No?
Like I said, we established he was manager of the Mets from 84 to 90. He was manager of the Reds from 93 to 95. He was in his 95. In his managerial career, he would then manage 3 other teams until he officially retired as a manager. His last season as managing was in 2013.
Oh, I know. This is the Nationals.
But now here's the tricky one. What about the 2 in between? I can tell you right now, I don't think anybody are going to get these.
American League or National League?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Didn't he manage the Orioles at one point?
Yes, he did. 96 to 97.
Okay, that's the other one. So that's an American League team. I said the Nationals. Okay, so the last one's a national team. Was it the Cubs?
He was with this team he managed them from the 99 to 2000 season.
I'm going to take a shot at it, and I'm going to say he was with the Dodgers.
Bingo.
Fuck! Fuck you, Tom. How about that?
I mean,
Hey,
I
I
can
can
even
actually
tell
think about something. I can actually think about something.
Hold on, I can even tell you. We can go through the teams he played for.
Well, I'm pretty sure Baltimore was one of them.
Yes, he played for them from 65 to 72.
Okay, at least that's something.
Mm-hmm.
I know this isn't on the thing, but I just thought this would be something interesting to do.
Yeah.
I'll put it this way. For this one's a little tougher because this one is 3 National League teams, and one of them is a Japanese team.
Okay.
I would never guess that.
So,
But hold on, Tom, before you answer it, Bobby, here's the thing, though. The Japanese team he played for, 90% of baseball fans have heard of this team.
Japan.
what?
He said Japan, and I mean, isn't that a national team that everyone knows?
No. God.
He said Japanese.
Is a team in Japan? It's not Japan.
I don't know. The Shanghai Stars?
That's China, dude.
Oh.
That's across the street.
Oh my God, I'm so stupid.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
Why did I say Shanghai?
But no.
Okay, I'll put it to you this way. Some of the teams, and this one I'm going to give away, okay? If I mention some of the names of who's played for this team, then you'll realize who I'm talking about here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Koji Yahara.
Oh, damn it.
The Yomiuri
Hideki
Giants.
Matsui.
Yep.
Who said it?
Yeah, the Yomiuri Giants.
Thank you. That's 2 of them. Still have 3 more teams he played for.
Are they in the Major League?
Yes, they're in the major leagues.
I don't fucking know. You talked about Japan before. Oh,
Well,
God.
I do remember he played for Atlanta, so I do remember that.
Yep.
And then, besides Yomiuri, I know there was at least like 1 or 2 after.
There was 2
I'm going to
teams
say the
after.
Red Sox.
Nope.
Fuck.
I'll be right.
Yankees?
No.
Fuck.
One of them he played for is a team we just talked about before. Bobby
Not the
mentioned
Mets.
this team.
No, not the Mets.
We were talking about powerful teams in the
Yeah,
National
Philly.
League.
Well, Philly
Oh.
he played for.
Yep. That's the end. That was who I was looking for.
Fuck.
And
All
the
right.
last one, he only played with them for one season.
That's a good question. I'm brain dead at this point. Yeah, thank you, John, for fucking me over.
I was gonna say, when are you not brain dead?
I don't know. Whenever I'm not drunk or high, I guess. Which never.
man.
Do you guys give up?
Yes, I give up.
He did play with. Well, actually, one season he did play with the Cubs.
Bobby got Tommy got it.
Tom got it. The Cubbies.
Yep.
The Cubs.
So
Damn.
maybe we can start a segment. Stump Tom.
Yeah, test us. There we go.
Hey, why not?
Yeah, a little fun segment here. Hey,
All right,
new show,
fine.
new stuff. So there we go.
And me being the producer now, as I've been granted that title earlier, I'm trying to come up with different ways to kind of make it more interactive here.
Yeah, sure. So I get what
Yeah,
you're
all we gotta
going
do
for.
is throw that countdown clock on the screen and like time for the answers.
That actually he made it. Did you guys didn't do picks yet? Did you? The NFL picks yet?
For week 2, no, we have not done that yet.
All right, you want me to pull up the games?
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's do it.
sure.
All right, I got
do
you.
it. Yeah, and then we'll round out with hockey.
Yes, because there's a lot.
Well,
to
actually, I
go
do
over.
have some hockey news, by the way.
Okay.
What do we got?
Pierre McGuire just got hired by the Pittsburgh Penguins to be on their broadcast team.
Oh,
That
Lord.
dickhead got hired. Fuck.
All right, are we doing
we'll be down there
every
in about
game
3
or
months.
hold on for this one? Are we doing every game? For
Yeah,
this
sure.
week,
If you
or-
want.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I'll run through it quickly. First, Thursday, tomorrow night, in an interesting NFC showdown, we got the Washington Commanders taking on the Packers. 8:15 start. Bobby, who do you got?
I have the Packers.
What
Yeah,
about you?
I'm gonna go Packers on that one. Micah Parsons is going to be lights out.
Yeah, I think I got the Packers as well. You're playing in Green Bay, and it's Washington Commanders. We still don't know what their team name's going to be because I heard something recently that they wanted to change it back to the Redskins apparently. So Who
Yeah,
knows?
they've been pushing for this for a while.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
they are moving back to the old RFK Stadium though, because that's all torn down now. So
we got a lot of. We actually have 2 Monday night games this week, so we'll get to that in a second.
Both of them are going to be a snooze fest. Just a heads up.
First on Sunday, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars playing the Cincinnati Bengals. Tom, I'll throw it to you first. Who do you got winning?
I'm gonna go Jacksonville on that.
Bobby, what about you?
I'm going Jacksonville also, just because the Bengals defense sucks.
Yeah, I got to agree on that, Jacksonville. I think they're going to be an interesting team. Well, I know who I'm not picking on this one. The New York Giants trying not to embarrass us in week 2 as they go into Dallas to play the Cowboys. Bobby, who do you got?
I'm going with the Cowboys.
Tom?
Yeah, Cowboys on that one.
I hate to say it, but I got to agree. I don't have any faith in this Giants team. I think I'll be sitting here next week. I feel like we're just going to have rant of the week now from me at this point with how this New York team is doing.
Listen, if we have a rant from you at least once a week, that would be fucking gold, dude. I will laugh.
Next, we got the New England Patriots heading down to Miami. Will Miami make New England's quarterback the second coming of Tom Brady? We'll find out on Sunday. Bobby, who do you got in that one?
I'm going to take the Dolphins.
You know what?
Tom, what about you?
I'm going to say there will be an upset. And I will say the Dolphins will go 0-2.
So you have the Patriots winning then?
I do. I'll take them in the upset.
Oh my God,
Okay.
first split of the night.
That's what
Just
she
so I
said.
can see Tyler go off the deep end again. like he did last week when Danny Dimes won.
Well, he lives rent free in your fucking head. How about that?
Well, yeah, that too. But I would just love to see him go ballistic over a Dolphins loss.
I love how John's like, who the hell's Tyler? And then you're like,
Well,
yeah, he's a Dolphin.
I've heard of him.
Oh, you've heard of him?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah. You know what? If we get him on the show at some point in the near future, I'm just going to call him a bitch to his face.
For this one, I got to go Pats as well. I think the Dolphins are going to have the hangover from last week. And I think their defense could be a real problem for them this year. Oh, boy. Here we go. Buffalo plays the Jets. So we'll move on to the next one since I know you guys both could pick Buffalo on that one. I kid.
Well, that doesn't take a genius. I mean, I'm obviously going to pick the Bills. And you know what? Fuck the Jets. Bills by $1 billion.
Tom, what about you?
Obviously, I'm taking the Bills over the Jets. There's no question about that one.
I hate to say this, I think the Bills win as well. I think this is going to be a absolute they're going to rip the Jets apart in this one, I think. We got a couple more 1 p.m. games. Chicago Bears play the Detroit Lions. Tom, who do you got?
I'm going to say Lions are going to come back. They're going to want blood. They're going to want to avenge that loss against Green Bay. So I'm going to take the Lions over the Bears.
Well, to me, it doesn't really matter because they're both like equally garbage for that most part. But if I had to pick one, because well, it is a game, I'm gonna go with the Bears.
Okay, I gotta go Lions. I've been a huge Lions fan for a while now, and I think because they're building correctly, Bobby. Before you get your little pitchfork out there and come after me. I think the Lions are building this team up the right way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've been building pretty well for a while now. I mean, sure. I mean, the Lions didn't look that great this past week, but at the same time, they've been building slowly but surely, and they've been winning games. They know how to win. They can go in there and do that. So, at this point, I would say the Lions, they're going to learn from what happened last week, and they're going to go at it.
I'm going to take the Bears. I still stand by it. And I have never heard those words out of your mouth about the Lions. I don't have an issue with that. It's just surprising because, well, I would do that too if the Giants sucked for 15 fucking years.
Moving on now. Because I think I probably can bring up the Giants with me. I'm going to end up ripping my shirt and having a Francesa meltdown on the show. And it's only week 1. It's only week 1, guys. Next we got is Cleveland Browns take on the Baltimore Ravens.
Ravens easily.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna say Cleveland.
You're gonna lose a lot of money.
Interesting.
I'm gonna say Cleveland for one reason. Because Baltimore's gonna have in the back of their mind they should have won last week against Buffalo, and that's gonna linger in them.
Well, I hate to be that guy, but I think that the Ravens are going to want to destroy the Browns just because of that comment, of the fact that they thought they should have beaten the Bills last week.
Okay, if they do, I will sit here next week and eat crow.
You're not going to sit there and eat crow. You're going to eat my underwear with shit stains on the floor. I can be promising you that for sure.
I'm good in that department. 49ers play the Saints. Tom, who do you got?
Who's up against the Saints?
49ers.
Oh, 49ers.
Minus Brock Purdy.
They're still built better overall than what the Saints have right now. I'll tell you that.
Fair enough. I'll take the 49ers.
Oh, yeah, I got to go 49ers. I don't even know who the Saints quarterback is right now.
It's not Brock Purdy. I'll tell you that right now.
Next we got is the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Before we get to your guys' prediction, Jay over in YouTube says he has the Steelers over the Seahawks.
And he also said the Lions have no identity now if they lose this game on Sunday. There it is. Thanks, Jay, for the comments. We appreciate that, brother.
But who do you guys have in this one? Bobby, I'll throw it to you first.
I guess I'll do the black and gold brigade. I'm going to take the Steelers.
Yeah, I would say right now, Aaron Rodgers and that offense, they're going to be better than what Seattle would have. As much as I'd like the Seahawks and as much as I'd like them to do some good things, you know what? Black and gold is going to do it.
Yeah, something tells me I think Pittsburgh's gonna be a good freaking team this year. We got one more 1 o'clock game, then we got a couple of 4 o'clock games to finish up. We have a few games left to go
All right.
for this segment here. Rams and Titans rematch of the 2001 Super Bowl.
Rams.
Yeah, I agree. It is going to be the Rams.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Panthers Cardinals.
Oh God, that's like picking which turd is going to be much shittier. Which
Yeah.
one? God damn it.
I said
Fine.
Panthers and Cardinals, not Jets and Giants.
Well, they're in that category too, so don't get too comfortable, buddy. I'm just saying.
I'm comfortable right where I am.
That's fine. Turd for turd. I'm going to take the Panthers.
You know what? As much as I got Chuba Howard on my fantasy and one of my fantasy teams, and he actually had a good week, I would look for Arizona to possibly squeak out the win.
If they lose to the Cardinals, they should just delete their franchise.
I got to go Carolina on this one. We got one more 4 o'clock game here. The Denver Broncos take on the Indianapolis Colts.
Broncos.
Who do we got, guys?
Yeah, it's going to be the Broncos. I agree.
Now, here's the game I think a lot of people are looking forward to. 4:25, Arrowhead Stadium. Rematch of Super Bowl, whatever the Super Bowl was that these two teams played in.
59.
Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs. Who's winning this one?
Fly, Eagles, fly. That's all I want to say about that because I want the Chiefs to get smacked.
Both those teams could suck my dick, but if I had to pick one, I'm picking Philly just because they're the lesser two evils.
I hate to say this, but I think I gotta agree. I think Philly's gonna win this one, as much as it kills me to say it.
Well, we all know that Daddy was gonna whoop their ass anyway.
And we got a comment coming in from YouTube. Jay says he picks the Chiefs on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and he may not be wrong.
All I know is I still have the feel in the back of my mind that a certain royal wedding is going to be a dark cloud over this team. If you know, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Then in Sunday night action, the Atlanta Falcons take on the Minnesota Vikings.
Ooh, okay. J.J. McCarthy versus Michael Penix Jr. I'm going to take the Falcons. I don't think McCarthy is that good.
Tom, what about you?
McCarthy's a wild card because anything could happen. Penix, I think, is probably the more well-rounded of the two. If he can get that receiver core going, I mean, the Vikings didn't really prove anything to me this past week. I mean, especially for how they played that entire game. So, I'm going to give it to the Falcons.
Did you guys hear, by the way, before I pull up the Monday night games here, did you guys see, I think it was over training camp, you mentioned Michael Penix Jr., Bobby, that CBS accidentally miswrote his name on the lower third?
Penis.
Oh, yeah. They
Yes.
spelled it as penis instead. Yeah, one of the local stations did.
And you know what, too? I'm going to be rubbing my nuts all over that city because I'm going there for Road to 32 in 5 weeks from now.
That can go so many ways.
Yeah, trust me. My left nut's going to go in the end zone. My right nut's going to be on their big-ass 25-point lead from the Super Bowl nearly 10 years ago.
If you, I'm just going to say this. If your nuts are spreading that far, I don't think you have to go to the game. I think you have to go to a doctor.
Why? It's just dominance.
Oh, have your balls examined, dude.
Are you saying they're small?
And on this episode, I-86 is sponsored by
yeah, so I-86 After Dark is sponsored by Simply Best Cleaning Services. If you're looking for emergency work, water and mold remediation, or if you're looking for general cleaning services, give a call to 716-912-6940. And of course, we appreciate them sponsoring us. And Jay actually has a comment on YouTube as well. So we're actually live on two different YouTubes right now. We've got the all new ATR network. We're also live on I-86 After Dark as well, the Horns and Hooves Entertainment channel. Jay mentions JJ McCarthy didn't even play with his squad this preseason, and he delivered Monday. He will deliver Sunday because he knows how to win. This guy's already a champ at Michigan.
Okay, but big difference, Jay. College football doesn't mean shit. You can have 2 championships. Let me put it to you this way. Okay, guy. Tim Tebow may have had 2 or 3 national championships in Florida. But what exactly did he do in the National Football League?
Other than have an early exit of his career because they wanted him to be a tight end instead of a QB.
Exactly.
He went to Tebow.
Yeah, but JJ McCarthy was throwing a fucking potato on Monday. The game was so boring. I slept on my couch on accident till like 12:30 in the night because the Vikings were just fucking terrible. I mean,
We got 2 more games left, guys. We got 2 Monday night games.
All right, fine. Go ahead.
First Monday night game, we got 7 p.m. start time. Tampa Bay Buccaneers play the Houston Texans. Who do we got, guys?
Buccaneers.
I'm actually going to go out and say the Texans.
Okay.
And then for the 10 o'clock game, the Chargers take on the Raiders.
Definitely the Chargers.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go Chargers on this one.
And guys, that was your week 2 picks right here for I-86. Tune in next week to see how crappy my teams do.
Or the rest of us, who knows? But
don't miss next week's episode where John confesses himself to be a gremlin.
Yeah. Oh. And Jay says playing in tonight's conditions, finest scare. JJ and Tebow was fat. Mofo couldn't even run. Or no, playing in today's conditions. Shouldn't or whatever he said. Doesn't scare.
He basically said Tim Tebow sucks.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So,
yeah.
And water is wet.
Right. And then a couple last things with hockey too. I know we ran a little bit over, but first and foremost, the hockey world lost Ken Dryden this past week. So of course we want to say rest in peace. And then of course we have a couple quick stories about New Jersey, the Canes, the Senators, and the Kraken.
Yep, and we have some last-minute breaking news out of Minnesota about Kirill Kaprizov.
All right.
That will change 2026 in free agency, by the way. My last comment.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, did you see those ugly-ass jerseys, Tom, from the Hurricanes?
No, I haven't, but it's probably one of those things that's going to gouge your eyes out.
Basically, you know that black Stadium Series jersey they had a couple of years ago against Washington?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do remember that.
Think of that jersey, but in white, but except that you put Stormy the Pig on your jersey. And a bunch of other shit that no one has ever seen or necessarily needed to see on a jersey.
Yeah. You don't want that.
Yep, and the other one is actually the Seattle Kraken stealth jersey, and that thing is a thing of beauty. That's a very nice jersey. It's basically black, and it has symbols of stripes on the forearm, and the logo is what's it called? Like a neon glow-in-the-dark color, which I think is very awesome. In fact, John, you get to see the jerseys as well because I think you deserve it because, well, the jersey looks like shit. Let's just put it that way. The jerseys look like absolute shit. So here you go, boys. Here is Seattle and Carolina. So here we go. There's your 2 jerseys. What do y'all think? This ought to be fun. I can't wait to see what the guys have to say.
Okay. Seattle, that is pretty sweet. I will say that. The Hurricanes, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's not great. I know John's got something to say. He's biting his tongue.
I agree. I like the Seattle one. It looks nice. But I'm sorry, the Carolina one. Who fucking designed it? Seriously, who fucking designed it?
Your guess is as good as mine, man.
What did you take the old logo and put okay, you know when you back in the day we used to do clip art back in the day and you could fill in the background of a photo with different backgrounds? I feel like what they did with that was they put the Carolina logo and they had some intern who they paid 3 cents to in some dark room in Carolina who said, "Ooh, let me pick a color to fill the background. Ooh, I'll go red."
Yeah, no, the Hurricanes to me, I feel like in the last like 7.5 years since Tom Dundon bought the team from the Carmanos family. Yeah, the Carmanos family. I feel like since Dundon took the team over, the Hurricanes to me have been the NHL's equivalent of an identity crisis. They're like the Browns. They don't know what they want to be. So they just make up shit, whatever they want. One year it's Canes going across like the New York Rangers with 2 Hurricane flags, then a red helmet, which was not even last year. So that's number one. Then they get rid of the red Hurricane jersey from 2006, and they replaced it with the black jersey with the Storm flag on it, which that one's a cool design on its own. But it's like the Canes are trying to be hip. Like, do you have a consistent style? Because it feels like to me that they're so ugly at this point. Like, you can't even keep up with them. And it's like they have a new jersey, whether it's home or away, every 2 or 3 years. It's disgusting. It's a shitty-ass look. If I'm, if you're a Canes fan, if you like it, that's fine. But I'm just saying, it. The general design is just disgusting.
Yeah, it's not good. By the way, and some other quick hockey news, I just happened to look this up. Do you guys know who holds the worst record in AHL history?
In AHL history? American Hockey League. Oh, NHL. I thought you said AHL for a second.
NHL.
Worst record? Was it like the 74-75 Capitals?
You got the Capitals part right, but it was 74-75.
I did say, did I say 74? 75?
I thought I heard 6.
Yeah, 1974-75 when they only had 8 wins all season.
Yep.
Their record was 8-67-5.
God damn it, those fucking teams, man, from back in the day.
Which included 37 consecutive road losses.
Oh, jeez.
Back in those days when there was no overtime or a shootout. Fuck. Yeah. But there actually is one big piece of news that I want to share because this actually came out today. And this one is about Kirill Kaprizov because as most diehard fans know, he's an unrestricted free agent going into 2026. Mm-hmm. But here's the twist of the knife. He rejected an 8-year deal that would have paid him $128 million with the Minnesota Wild. And that contract, by the way, too, that would have made him the highest paid player in the NHL, which was $16 million per year, according to Frank Seravalli. And it has been reported by multiple times over the recent weeks that Minnesota was willing to go at $16 million annual average value with Kaprizov returning to North America this week, and he is projected to be a free agent come July 1st of 2026.
Wow. To reject the highest contract ever.
Jesus Christ.
And Minnesota's offering it. All I can say is, wow, what is messed up with that organization?
There's a lot broken in there, by the way. There's a lot of fucked up shit.
I mean, that's like to get $16 million a year and get paid more than McJesus. I mean, good Lord.
And McDavid's probably going to get maybe $19 million within his next contract. And God forbid he says, I want to stay in Edmonton for the rest of my career. I mean, God forbid, at that point. But it's crazy to think that Kaprizov rejected a deal that would have kept him in Minnesota. Maybe he's seeing something bigger than we're not seeing it as. Minnesota has not been competitive at a consistent level in the last few years. They've made the playoffs before. Yeah, that's not the issue. Making the playoffs in that aspect is not the issue. The issue is that they're stuck in the money middle, and they've been like this for a while. Mm-hmm. And that is Minnesota has the talent. Like, they have guys like Brock Fader. They have Kirill Kaprizov currently, who's a free agent. You also have guys that have been in the league for a while, Matt Zuccarello being one. And then you have Philip Gustafson. That's he's turned into a phenomenal goalie for Minnesota. So, in a way, it's weird to think that one of the most talented players to come from the KHL over to the United States in the last decade or so, just rejected the highest paid contract ever. That to me screams that he's going to be a free agent in July and he doesn't want to stay in Minnesota. And in my case is if he says no moving forward before the March 6th trade deadline, do the Minnesota Wild have no choice but to trade him, even if they're in contention to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and then Jay says, "Is the NHL fun to watch now that Florida won?" Your thoughts? And I will say, Florida. Hey, congrats to them for winning another cup because I mean that team has gotten a lot better over the last several years, and we even talked about them on the old show a little bit, where they finally ended up getting some great players, and of course, I mean you've got Barkov. You've done a lot of good things with that team. Yeah, Matt Tkachuk, another one. So. I mean, the fact that they've slowly but surely built up, I mean, they've gotten some stable goaltending, and I mean, their penalty kill unit's been good. So there you go. They deserve to win.
Absolutely. John, what do you think? Kaprizov rejecting the deal and going to Jay's comment about, do you think that the NHL is fun to watch now that Florida's got 2 cups?
Well, I'll go to Jay's comment first. Yes, because now it's not predictable. You're not going to sit there and say that, oh, it's going to be a Tampa Bay or it's going to be a Boston or it's going to be, one of the powerhouse teams.
Right. Vegas Vegas just won the cup 2 years ago. So
right. And Eichel's in the contract year this year.
Well, what were you going to say, John?
As far as the other thing with the Minnesota part, I don't know why you would do that. Unless he thinks that he can get a bigger offer from one of the bigger teams. But again, and I'm going to ask you guys this because you guys are more of the hockey guys than I am. Is there a bigger team out there that you think that needs him?
Yes. I can actually name one team on the show right now. The New York Islanders.
Maybe that's what he's waiting for. Maybe he's waiting for a team like the Islanders or a team like the Rangers or Florida or Boston or Tampa. I'm just naming these off the top of my head that could give him the money and he feels that he is deserved because maybe he also looks at it as, well, he knows that Minnesota isn't going to make a push towards the Stanley Cup.
Right.
Well, they haven't been. Sorry, Tom, go ahead.
No, I was agreeing with it. I was agreeing with that.
Well, I was going to say to your comment, John, is that with Minnesota, ever since they signed Zach Parise and Ryan Suter to those massive ass deals from 13 years ago, they still have to eat a certain amount of money for the next 4 or 5 years until the cap is cleared. They're not going to be competitive. The Minnesota's mindset has always been close, but never close enough. And that's always been that way for the Wild.
But the problem is this. When it finally comes time for both of those contracts to come off the books, it's still going to take them a number of years before they bounce back. And let's also be honest. Who knows what the state of the NHL is going to be at that point. And especially they're considered, now correct me if I'm wrong here, and this is where it gets very weird with hockey. Minnesota is considered a Western Conference team, correct?
Yes, Minnesota's in the West.
Yep.
Even though technically they're on the East Coast, but we're not going to talk about that right now.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, Minnesota is in a very, very tricky situation because if your best player just said, I'm not staying with you, and I refuse to sign a contract that big, then I would say, Minnesota's a deep shit because next year's free agent class is very, very deep. You have Kirill Kaprizov. You have Jack Eichel. You have Connor McDavid. Alex Ovechkin is in that class, but he's going to probably retire. Ante Kopitar is in that class as well. So there's a bunch of guys going into next July that are going to be getting paydays. And it's not guaranteed that, any of those guys stay. McDavid could very well turn around and pull the Tavares and say, oh, I want to stay at Edmonton. But then waits and then leaves to go to like Toronto or something like that. And then you have Eichel, who probably will stay in Vegas, I would imagine. And then Kaprizov just told the Wild to fuck off.
Right. Now, Jay actually asked on YouTube, do the Islanders have the money, though?
Do the Islanders have the money? I'm going to say right now, projectively, no. Only because for right now, the Islanders only have about $1.63 million in cap. But keep in mind of something. JG Pageau is a free agent after this year. So, because of the trade deadline coming up, they can easily flip him. They tried to move him in the draft, but it didn't work out. So in that aspect, you want to get some value for Pajot. The other issue is because Lou Lamoriello screwed the team over with all these big contracts in the last few years. 8.5, 8-year deals for Bo Horvat, 8-year deal for Adam Pelech, 8-year deal for Ryan Pulak, and so on and so forth. Some guys are not going to be off the book until like 2032, and that's going to hurt the Islanders long term. But Matthew Darche has said, even with the cap trouble, they're going to find a way to make it work as far as trying to make the Islanders competitive. Because right now, under a new regime and another new leadership and a new era, this is a retooling year. If they make the playoffs, that's a bonus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, or it could be the Buffalo Sabres, which have a crap ton of cap room, but they won't do anything about it because their manager believes, people won't come here because we don't have the palm trees.
Oh, my God. Fuck Kevin Adams. And I should mention, too, is another advantage that the Islanders have as far as trying to get Kaprizov, if they're able to get him, which I would love to have him, because there's two factors. The first one is the Islanders have 2 first-round picks. So they got one, they have their own, and they have the one they got from the Avalanche in the Brock Nelson deal this past March. They can easily either keep the 2 picks and just use them, or trade one of them and get Kaprizov if they have the desire to do so. But the thing is, next year's draft is very deep. So the Islanders may not even pull the trigger on Kaprizov as far as, assets. But they might wait till he's a free agent if he hits it. It's not guaranteed right now.
Very true. So I was going to say, we covered a lot of stuff tonight. We're almost 2 hours in. So I just want to say, do you guys have any final thoughts or other things you want to throw in there before we wrap up?
Well, I do. And just a friendly reminder that Urinated Tree will be our guest next week on I-86 After Dark. So you guys don't want to miss that. He was a great interviewee. We cannot wait to have him back on and again in the near future, hopefully for just mismatching. And I'm sure John would love to have that.
Yep. And then, of course, if you didn't catch Darius Kasparaitis interview, it is live on, of course, all our platforms. So feel free to go to our Horns and Hooves Entertainment YouTube page or Spotify as well. It's also on Odyssey, which is one of our new platforms that we're working with. And certainly you can catch the entire nearly hour-long interview. And, of course, you get to hear about a little bit of a bar fight on there, too. So there's some funny stuff that ended up happening with that. Of course, with that being said, too, we want to give another thanks to Simply Best Cleaning Services for sponsoring the show. Of course, if you need any general cleaning services or water or mold remediation, give them a call, 716-912-6940. They can also do emergency work for you as well. So special thanks to them for sponsoring us as well. And then, of course, producer John getting us back on the air. Thank you. We appreciate it. So otherwise we would have had no show. And other than that, any last thoughts from anybody before we wrap up?
No, I'm good.
I'm just going to say, guys, I appreciate everybody who watched tonight. It meant a lot. We're building something here between both Around the Ropes and I-86. And guys, if you're a Jets fan or a Giants fan, find the closest liquor store because you're going to need it.
There you go. Yeah, and definitely if you haven't had a chance to check out John's show, he's got some really good wrestling content on Around the Ropes. Check out all of us on the new ATR network as well as over on Horns and Hooves Entertainment. And then in the meantime, as always, thanks for watching. We appreciate you spending some time with us.
Hold on, forgot to mention also.
Yeah,
I know normally they would catch us on Spotify, but we're adding something new now. Because we're now doing it under both networks, not only can you catch I-86 on Spotify, but you can also catch it on Apple, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, obviously Spotify as well, wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah,
just search All New ATR Network.
Check us out. So a lot of new spots that you can catch us. So of course, thanks to everybody for catching us out. We appreciate it. We enjoy doing the show. In the meantime, as always, take care of yourselves and each other. We will see you next week.
See you next week.